Microsoft Word. Now I know you're used to writing reports and essays in Word, but we're going to go over some additional features that will come in handy in the future. Just a reminder that we may all be using different versions of Microsoft Word. The screenshots that I'm going to show you are from a 2016 Microsoft Office, and it'll be on a PC. I personally use a Mac, so sometimes helping with the PCs may take me some time to figure out. If you're using a different version of Office, don't worry. The function is still available in all versions of Office, but it may just take some time to figure out where exactly it is, because it might be under a different tab or in a different place. When in doubt, Google it. I've given you some text. It's practice text, so it doesn't mean anything. That's on Canvas, and it's in these slides. Copy and paste it into an empty Word document to help yourself play around with some of the settings and features that I'm going to be discussing in this video. Let's start off with some helpful shortcuts. Most of these shortcuts work in many different softwares and not only in Microsoft Word, but here is a list of some of the most common. You can use Control-S for save or Control-Z for undo, which are very common ones that you should know. If you're a Mac user, replace the Control key for the Command key. Most of us are used to changing the font type or the size of the font or the color of the font in Microsoft Word, but there's so much more that you can do. You can bold, underline in several different ways. You can create superscripts and subscripts, change the spacings of the letters, and do so much more. You can use these to emphasize different parts of the document when needed. Don't overdo it though. You can do all of this by using the font group in Word. You can also get more features by clicking on the little arrow on the bottom right-hand side of the font group. You'll open up something that looks like this, and this is where you can change different parts of the font in your document. If you click on the Advanced tab at the top of that window, you can also change the spacing by expanding or condensing the font. Try it out and see what happens. Now here's a cool feature. If you want to set a particular style as the default every single time you open up a new document, just click Set as Default on the window that you are at. For example, I set my default to Times New Roman in 12 font size because that's the norm for the documents that I write. Let's talk a little bit about headers and footers. Headers and footers are the top and bottom part of the document in Microsoft Word. We usually use these areas for things like page numbers, dates, and footnotes. Remember that if you want to put something in the header or footer, it will be on every single page of the document. You can add a header or footer by simply double-clicking on the top or bottom margin of the document. You'll notice that the Design tab is displayed on the top of your screen when you have double-clicked on the header or footer. You can either add text that you want like you normally would, or you can use some of the preset styles that are available in the Design tab. You also have the option of having a different first page or different odd or even pages when you're creating things like pamphlets or brochures and need that feature. Sometimes you want to have a document that has multiple columns. You can find this by going to the Layout tab and clicking on Columns. Then you're able to pick the number of columns you want on the page. I usually write all of the text I want in columns and then highlight that text to format it into columns. Working the other way has caused me problems in the past, so that's my own personal preference and little tip for you. In the paragraph group, you'll notice that there are buttons and number icons that you can use in your document. If you click on the little arrow to the right of the bullet or numbering icon, you'll get more options to change the type of bullet that you can use. You can create your own bullet if you want to change the colors or change to a different icon as well. And the same thing applies to the numbering library. Sometimes when you're using bullets or numberings, the indentation doesn't work properly. It's either indented too much or not enough. If you run into this issue, you can use the two indent buttons to increase or decrease the level of indentation that you have. Sometimes the alignment looks a little off on your document and you can't figure out just what's wrong. You want to move things a little back or a little forward. Well, you can do this by using the ruler feature in Word. When you click on this, you will be able to use the indent markers. The top marker adjusts the first line that you have highlighted, while the bottom marker adjusts the hanging indent or all of the text after that first line. Now let's say we want to change the spacing between each line in a paragraph. For example, when we want to use double spacing that's required for APA formatting, you can click on the line spacing icon and pick how much space you want between each line. So for double spacing, we would click 2.0. You can also change the way paragraphs are formatted by adding borders or shading for certain paragraphs. Maybe when creating a brochure, you want to create a box around certain text. You can use paragraph formatting, which is very similar to line spacing, to do this. Paragraph formatting applies to just the paragraph that you have selected, or it can be applied to the entire page. You decide how you want to do that and what style you want to use and color and the width of the box you want. Sometimes we want a certain part of our document, maybe a chart or a table or the next chapter, to start on a different page. This is where we use breaks. There are plenty of different types of breaks, and you want to understand how each of them are different. We have page breaks and section breaks that can be used, and here's some information about both of them. Next, we have watermarks that can help us embed an image onto a paper. Sometimes it's the logo of our company that we want behind the text, while other times it can be text to indicate that a document is a draft. You can find the watermark button in the page background group in the Design tab. There are a lot of options in the types of watermarks that you can use. You can select a picture or change the type of text you use. If you need to change the layout of your page, such as the size of your pages or the margins or the orientation of your page, you can do all of this by clicking on the Layout tab in Word. You have the ability to change the orientation of only one page when you use the orientation button along with page breaks. Now, Format Painter is one of my favorite features in Word. It was very magical when I first learned about it. It allows you to copy the formatting from one thing in your document to another. So let's say that you're working hard to figure out the right color and the right size and the right font spacing for a header in your document. And you have multiple headers that you need to change to look alike. Rather than going in and changing all of those options for every single header, you can just highlight the text that you like, click on the Format Painter, and highlight the text that you want to look the same way. It copies the formatting for you. Now, this feature is also available in many other Microsoft Office programs and can save you a ton of time. Next, we have styles. Styles are predefined combinations of font style, color, and size that can be used anywhere in a document. These are great for headers and titles in documents. You can also modify the styles if you don't like the blue default headers that Microsoft Word provides by clicking on the style that you want to change and clicking on Modify. Lastly, we use the styles that I just talked about in Word to help us create table of contents. Word creates these table of contents automatically for us. So if you apply heading styles, you can create a table of content very easily. If you click on the Reference tab in Word and the Table of Contents button, you can pick from the automatic tables which are built from the headers that you have selected styles for, or you can create your own table of content. If you end up working on your document some more after you create your initial table of contents, you can go back and update that table of contents by going to the table of content page and selecting Update Table. Now, there's much more that Word has to offer. You'll be learning a lot more when you watch your Linda video. But I wanted to show you some of the key features that are used on a regular basis in healthcare organizations. That's it for my video this week. Thanks for watching.